Welcome to Suprema Technical Training of Suprema Connect 2021. This is Kate Yu, in charge of Technical Consulting at Suprema. I'm so excited to meet all of you online. I'm here to introduce one of the key features of Suprema product. In this session, I'm going to explain how to use OSDP with Suprema product. This will take only about 30 minutes and there is no demonstration. I'm going to focus on the concept of using OSDP with our product. The LC industry has been using Wiegand interface to communicate between the two different manufacturers' reader and control panels for years now. However, due to its limitation on maximum data size and only one-way communication direction, only simple card serial numbers can be used, and it's necessary to run two different systems at the same time. With this background, OSDP was created to make an access control system industry to use RS-485 standard protocol, which is capable of handling larger data size in bidirectional two-way communication, especially as OSDP enables to transmit biometric data. It's possible to connect Suprema devices to third-party controller panels which support OSDP and biometric data management and create one single system. First, we will briefly see the specifications of OSDP. Second, we will see key features of Suprema product. And then, lastly, we will see how to use it depending on the project requirement. I prepared 5 simple posts on the subject to run an interactive webinar. This is anonymous, so please feel free to attend it. How do you usually use Suprema product as access control system? All right, the result shows that Suprema devices are used for the various environments. Next, are you aware of Wiegand? As the result shows, most of people know about Wiegand. Next, are you aware of OSDP? Very good. I'm glad that half of attendees understand OSDP. If you are not aware of OSDP, that's fine. Don't worry, this webinar also includes an explanation of OSDP. If you have any questions, please leave them in the Q&A box and Suprema panel members will be able to answer them. Next is are you able to explain the difference between Wiegand and Open Supervised Device Protocol? As the result shows, half of voters does not know the difference. But that is okay because this way is the training time to learn about this difference. Are you aware of Suprema product supporting OSDP? Let me share the result. I'm so happy many attendees know Suprema product specification. If you are not aware of Suprema product supporting OSDP, that is okay. That is why I choose this as our webinar topic today. Suprema Barta 2 devices basically support OSDP. Let's see how it can be used. Let's find out what OSDP is. Reader and controller from different manufacturers are here. What if the reader and controller could talk? Wouldn't the physical security system expand its scalability and product choices? OSDP is a RS-485 communication methods consisting of standardized request and response commands between the controller and the reader. Communication is composed of a set request command and response command. OSDP was developed by complementing the Wiegand interface, which only allowed one-way communication from the reader to the controller, It can process large-scale data in a two-way communication environment between the leader and the controller, and transfer biometric data. With this protocol, it is possible to connect between third-party devices. So you can use the existing system by changing the reader only, which is required to be replaced. Let's take a look at the important features. OSDP allows two-way communication between ACU and readers, which different manufacturer makes. This two-way communication is based on the RS-485 serial communication method. In addition, in the secure channel mode, AES 128 encryption is used for a secure communication method. What's the difference between OSDP and Wiegand? I divided the sections into wiring, data, and communication. Shall we look at wiring first? Usually, there are 3 Wiegand data lines. However, the beep and LED cannot be controlled with these 3 wires because it is a one-way method. With these 3 wiring cables, Wiegand cables, you need to connect additional input cables to control LED or beeps. However, OSDP can control beep and LED with 4 conductors of RS-485 cable line composed of Wiegand twist pair. There is also a difference in data size. Wiegand has a maximum data transfer size of 256 bytes, while OSDP can transfer up to 1024 bytes. And the biggest difference is that Wiegand data communication is not encrypted. So it is vulnerable to security, but OSDP is secure because the communication is encrypted with AES 128 through OSDP channel, secure channel mode. Now, are you aware of why OSDP became more popular than Wiegand? OSDP has become more popular than Wiegand due to 3 features. First, two-way communication of OSDP, and second is efficiency due to the less cabling than Wiegand, and encrypted communication is method. Now, how can the OSDP specifications of Suprema devices be used in the physical security industry? Let's check the main features. As I said, OSDP is a two-way communication method between the leader and the controller. Suprema devices can be a controller or a reader because it has a relay and it has a capability of user authentication and reading a card. Suprema devices as a controller can only be connected with Suprema devices at the moment, and third-party OSDP reader is not available. We are going to implement a new feature in the half of next year. Again, OSDP communication between Suprema devices is possible. You might be wondering why the third-party OSDP reader connection is not possible even though Suprema product supports OSDP. The currently implemented firmware structure does not consider the situation of classifying third-party devices type. And in order to connect the third-party OSDP reader to the Suprema device, you need to be able to search for the device after connecting to Power2 or SDK. This part has not been developed yet. Power2 planning team will review it. Now, let me explain what features the Suprema devices as a reader has. The first is the slave device as a dummy reader. It does not store user information in device memory. Like other companies' OSDP reader, it is operated by the controller by sending the cards to the controller when there is a card input in the normal state, and by scanning the fingerprint when the controller requests a fingerprint input. Second, it is a slave device as a smart card reader. Once there is a smart card detection and the user authentication on the device, the card number is transferred to the controller. The above two are feature functions previously provided by Suprema as OSDP reader. The third feature is intelligent slave feature. Unlike the two functions above, the Suprema device authenticates user information, and upon successful authentication, a card number or user ID is sent to the controller. Temporary card authentication is also possible with this function. In addition, when user authentication fails, a code can be sent to the controller, which is the most requested function by customers who want to replace the Wiegand environment. Now, let's check the cases where the Suprema device can be used as an OSDP reader to help you understand. I have an example of actual customer inquiries. Let's look at the first inquiry. This customer is currently considering changing the Wiegand reader in the existing access control system to an OSDP reader for security purpose. In this case, you can use the Suprema product. This can be called an RS485 slave reader. The Suprema device becomes a dummy reader and transmits card or biometric information to the access control panel without storing user information. There was important news this year. In the first half of this year, the Suprema XPS2 series were listed as OSDP verified devices. The items that have been certified are the basic and secure parts, which are the contents defined in OSDP and where or not the security has been complied with. Based on this, we look forward to being applied to many projects of our clients in the future. Other product lines has also been standardized on OSDP, but there are a few differences. So we are going to implement further. The Suprema device connected to the access control panel via RS485 is referred to as an RS485 slave device in Bluetooth term. RS485 slave device does not store user information. It receives the requested command from access control panel and operates accordingly. For example, when a card is scanned or a card input is performed, the expected to pass the information to the access control via OSDP. In XPS2, since it does not support TCP connection, presetting through software is not possible. Instead, it is easy to change the settings through the mobile app or a button on the hardware. For reference, other Bluetooth IP-based devices that support RS485 other than D2 can also be applied to this structure. Let me move on to the next inquiry. This inquiry is about whether an existing access control system and an OSDP device can use card plus fingerprint or not. You can also use the Suprema device for that kind of project. However, there are some limitations. The limitation is the format and size of fingerprints registered in a third-party system. Slave reader does not store user information, but fingerprint matching is performed in the reader in the following order. First, when a card scans into the reader, the access control panel passes the user biometric information for the card information to the reader. After that, the user inputs a fingerprint on the device. the loaded fingerprint is matched with the scanned fingerprint, and the result is delivered to the access control panel. Due to this fingerprint matching process, your system should be compatible with the fingerprint's relative specification of Suprema device. Let's take a look at next inquiry. The next inquiry is that we want to store the biometric information on a smart card. Can you use Suprema product as an OSDP device? Our answer is yes. You can also use Suprema devices for this project. Barta 2 does not have the exact terminology in the device menu, but for the better understanding, let's call it the RS-485 slave smart card reader. Before moving on to the next explanation, I would like to briefly explain the smart card terms. Smart card refers to a card that can write the data to the card memory area. Cards that can be used in the Barta 2 system are MyFair, Disfire, and iClass. Among the main functions of Barta 2, there's a function that allows you to store fingerprint or face information on the smart card. In other access control system, it is called template on card, and in Barta 2 software, it is called access on card. In the case of access on card, biometric information is not stored on the device, but on a smart card. Access on card stores the user's biometric information ID, PIN code, and access group. To read access on card, it is necessary to set the smart card layout in the device in advance so that the RS-485 slave device can recognize the smart card. Please set up an environment where you can issue cards with a separate registration device. When the Suprema device scans authenticates the access on card successfully, the card number is output through the OSDP command. In face station F2, which supports visual and IR-based fusion mode, it is possible to save face template to the card through the access on card function. So you can use RS-485 slave smart card reader with face station F2. Let's see what else. Next is as follows. This is one of the most frequently asked questions. In the typical access control market, many customers are using Suprema devices as Wiegand output device. Now, the number of inquiries that pass card ID or user ID through OSDP to access control panel instead of Wiegand output is increasing. With Barta 2 software version 2.8.10 and bioentry W2, we support the Wiegand feature. In the case of the existing RS-485 slave does not store user information in the device and it only transmits data to the access control panel and operates depending on the access control panel's request command. The intelligent slave function released with Barta 2.8.10 operates as a standalone device with including software using, but transmit data according to the authentication results to the access control panel. Although it is inconvenient to manage user information in two different systems, it has a great advantage of utilizing the superior biometric authentication performance of Suprema devices and enabling access control from access control panel through OSDP. Since intelligent slave can operate as an intelligent device like IP-based Barta 2 device, authentication is possible with fingerprint only without card input. And server matching is also available. In addition, the access on card described above is also supported. Currently, only the following devices are available through the latest firmware. Other models are not scheduled. For reference, Barta2 device SDK and Suprema G SDK will support the related device setting function in the next version. It might be a little complicated. To put it simple, let's think of when the device will send the card number via OSDP. The slave leader passes the card number to the access control panel without authenticating from the device. For access on card only, the card number is transmitted to the access control panel when the device successfully authenticates the user information on the card memory. With intelligent slave, when authentication is successful in the device for the user information, which is stored in the device or server, the card number of the user is transmitted to the access control panel through OSDP. One of the key features of intelligent slave is an exception code. When an authentication fail occurs in the device, an exception code defined by the user is in advance is transmitted to the access control panel via OSDP. If you use the access on card but need to use the exception code function, please use the intelligent slave function. So far, I have introduced the functions of how Suprema devices can be used as an OSDP leader. Then you might want to ask the following question. All Suprema devices can be an OSDP leader to all third-party access control panel which support OSDP. As an OSDP device, it is possible to connect to the access control panel and transfer card data. However, some other access control panel manufacturers use some OSDP manufacturer command in addition to the OSDP standard command. So it is suggested to discuss the access control panel, access control manufacturer and Suprema team in advance. For example, is an exception code. In an exception code, a specific access control panel manufacturer may also search for devices that support the exception code in Wiegand format. Let's see how to use Suprema product for with OSDP connection. The process of connecting Suprema to the access control panel with OSDP leader is simple. Please change the device's baud rate, connection mode, and connect the wiring to the correct port. And then connect Suprema device to Barta2 software to manage user device configuration. And if you want to use the Suprema product, Barta2 product as an intelligent slave, you can perform user registration in Barta2 software. To use the Suprema Barta2 device with the access control panel, you need to set the RFRA5 mode and baud rate. When using an intelligent slave, only baud rate needs to be set to 9600. When using a general slave device, you must set the RFRA5 mode to slave. Please note that the available setting method differ depending on the type of the Suprema product. Device that can connect to IP can be configured through Barta2 software or SDK application. For OSDP ID, a setting is required when more than one device needs to be connected. More than one device needs to be connected to the access control panel. Since the default OSDP ID of Suprema device is 0, the OSDP ID setting is required to avoid overlapping the OSDP ID when connecting the same access control panel. Most of access control panel also include a function to set the OSDP ID. So please check that option before use. The menu of OSDP ID setting is available for firmware and software that support intelligent slave. In addition, the OSDP ID of Express D2 is configurable with a mobile app, and D2 and R2, the device's baud rate can be changed using the device manager mobile app or the reset switch on the back of the device. Let's check the options for RS485 connection. After connecting the Suprema IP-based device to Bluetooth software, check the serial item in the device setting. In the serial menu, you can set RS485 and baud rate. Please note that RS485 mode should be default in the case of intelligent slave that output only the authentication result to OSDP. When a device is connected to access control panel, the device firmware internally switches to intelligent slave mode. In intelligent slave, the card ID for authentication success can be output, but if authentication fails, the result is not sent to the access control panel. It may be necessary to send a code to identify authentication fails of a connected reader in the access control panel, in which case you can enable and set the exception code option. For the D2 series that do not support TCP, you can easily configure the device through the Suprema Device Manager app. For security reason, the connection between the mobile app and the device is set up with a password first. If the password is correct, then you can use the device's RS485 network setting. Since R2 does not support BLE, you cannot use the device manager app. In this case, you can use the reset button on the back of the device to set the device's baud rate. The device D2 also supports the setup setting, same setup. You can change the RS485 modes according to the number of pressing time of the reset button. Please set the Wiegand card format or Wiegand format of the CSN card according to the card type. For Express D2 devices, you can also set the Wiegand format and smart card layout in the device manager app. For projects using access-on card, create a card data layout, smart card layout in Bluetooth software setting, and apply the settings to the device. At this time, please also activate the additional option that deletes user credential data after issuing with access AOC, that means access on card. D2 can be set in the device manager app. According to the pin map, please connect the RS485 cable of the Bluetooth devices to panel. If you want to use the intelligent slave function, please register the user information with biometric information or card in Bluetooth software. If you need to use an access-on card, you can issue an access-on card through Bluetooth software. In addition, Suprema Mobile Access is also available. For more information on how to use it, refer to the Suprema Technical Support site document. Now, all the setup process is over. Please make sure if the third-party access control panel has the user information and then check the operation of the access control panel through the card or fingerprint input on the Suprema device. That's all for the webinar we prepared. Lastly, let's look at frequently asked question and answer. Number 1, can I store the user information to the device and send the card ID or user ID after the device matches the user information? Answer is yes. This is the intelligent slave feature which we just released. Currently, bioentry W2, biostation L2, bioentry P2, and Express 2 support. Number 2, can base station 2 or base station F2 support intelligent slave? Answer is no. The development schedule is not fixed, but we are going to be set the high priority. Next, do you have any experience connecting Suprema devices to third-party access control panel through OSDP? Yes, we do. So please contact that part to the Suprema sales team for more information. Last, what does it mean OSDP verified for Express D2? It has been certified by SIA. This leader can be replaceable or Wiegand leader as an OSDP leader with secure communication. This is the end of this technical training. Thank you so much. Bye.